or into your fifth grade class or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and Barry wins the weapons contest. So they've won 2 things, and they got a second place finish. The Stone Dojo has got a second place finish and a first place finish. I don't know how they did in weapons, but
weapons they did. I think they got second because it was the kid with the kind of like the samurai sword.
Oh, that's
thing.
right. Yeah. Okay, now I remember that. So basically, it comes down to this final competition,
right?
Where Chuck Norris is going to fight Kelly Stone, and we get our boss fight.
Boss fight.
And it's fine.
It's not much. You get an amped up Piscopo, Kelly Stone.
Oh, he's so fucking hyped.
He is ready to go, man. Like I want that confidence every time I do something. He's got a lot of confidence and bravado in him. And
he sort of does some cheap, he does some cheap shots, like smacks Norris on top of the head. And
a little like handshake and then bops him on the head kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, just Norris pushes him around the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's
I mean, other than that cheap shot,
right?
Kelly Stone has no offense on this guy at all.
No. But the best part, and I think that every kid remembers, is just Piscopo, getting upset, taking off the gloves, and like that's going to help it all, and just taking off the gi.
Okay. Yeah,
and just this
big shreds.
Yeah, just this flexing on him, and it was.
And we get probably the most one of the more cartoonish moments when Chuck Norris does a jumping front kick, and apparently Kelly Stone does 2 backflips from the impact.
Whoa!
Eyes crossed. The most cartoonish reaction. I mean, but for the performance he's been doing, it's not too far off. And that's it. Frying Dragon wins. Barry's proven himself that he can do nunchucks and breaks, but he can't really fight.
Right. Now, did the tournament lead to... Because it was a tie in the... Wasn't it a tie? Because isn't the fire bricks that Barry has to break after the fight?
You're right. Barry wins it, doesn't he?
Right, because Barry wins it with the bricks.
So how is it...
Oh, because that's why. Because they win that fight. Because Stone's ahead by one. Because Norris wins that, then they have to go to the tiebreaker and choose. Yeah.
And that's right, because that's when Winnie from Wonder Years says, "You've already won the weapons contest, Barry. They don't have anybody that can touch you."
Yeah.
It's like, where was this confidence earlier?
Right, Winnie. Come on.
Now you're just trying to catch this bag, hook your wagon to this, and Barry breaks him somehow. His weak, feeble, asthmatic wrists break more bricks than Randy Cellini.
Did you see that thing that I sent you about kind of the interview with Brandis in '94?
About the Jurassic Park ride?
No. This was a questionnaire. It was like a questionnaire interview. What's your favorite stuff?
What was this from?
It was. Let me pull it up because I do want to sort.
Because it was like almost like something from like a Tiger Beat magazine type thing.
Yeah. So this was from the South Florida Sun Sentinel in 1994, because at this time Brandis was living in the Orlando area, and they asked us some really fun questions like, "What's your favorite things?" And before I get to like the big one, just some things that they had mentioned or asked. They had asked the last good movie you saw, and he said Pulp Fiction. Favorite pig out food? He said generic food at Denny's. Favorite performers, Nirvana. Personal heroes, Robert Zemeckis, Steven Spielberg, Gary Oldman, and Val Kilmer. God bless you, Brandis. God bless you on this. Yeah. Let's see, what did he say here? I'd give anything to meet Gina Davis. Okay, good for him. And he says, like, when you talk about his arms...
Long Kiss Goodnight.
Oh, yeah. When you talk about his arms, they asked him, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? And he said, I wish my forearms were bigger. But the last question that they asked him was your most humbling experience. And he says, I had to break a stack of 10 clay bricks in front of 5,000 people for a big finale scene in the movie Sidekicks. They didn't break, and I got booed.
So, when they shot this final scene, we're to understand that this was... They basically were doing a real karate tournament and be like, oh, we're also shooting this movie, let's cheer for everybody.
Maybe it was a real tournament, and they just set this up with the crowd, too.
Yeah, I mean, that could be 5,000. Otherwise, I love the idea of poor little Jonathan Brandis getting booed.
I know.
All these fucking karate fans just be like, look, who the fuck is this kid?
Barry Wary.
Like whenever a celebrity goes, yeah, true.
Yeah.
That's great. I didn't read to the bottom of that, I guess, but I did read some of that. That's hilarious. So yeah, I guess they were like, this must be like the Houston Invitational Karate Tournament or something, where 5,000 people came.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. Well, good for him. He was missed. The boss fight was underwhelming, but Barry Wary wins it for the Frying Dragon. He gets his confidence. He has a final talk with Chuck Norris where he's like, you did it, Barry. You should be proud of yourself. And Barry's like, yeah, thanks, Chuck. And Chuck Norris disappears.
So, obviously Chuck Norris was there. Obviously,
yes.
That this wasn't, he didn't... Barry didn't fight Piscopo and win, and this was all a daydream.
Right.
But why did Chuck Norris have to disappear? Like, I like the movie as it is. Why do you have to make him?
Yeah. What's the mystic we're adding to it? Like, here's Barry, who's finally got his confidence to where he's going to stop daydreaming, and then Chuck makes him think he's daydreaming. But Barry gets his confidence back, and he no longer needs Chuck Norris. Maybe that's what we're supposed to be. Like, because Chuck Norris is no longer needed, he just disappears. And Barry leaves behind his Black Belt magazine, and a kid in a wheelchair finds it.
Larry Flint finds his first Hustler and becomes founder of Hustler magazine.
Yeah, because Barry just put Black Belt over Hustler. Whoa, cool! The kid wheels away, and we get a fun ending. Hopefully this kid was inspired, and Chuck Norris will continue to inspire a generation of staunch right-wing Christians and retired Texans.
There you go. Make his own water, have his guns, just talk about...
He makes his own water.
Talk about 401k, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, we really want to diversify. So that was Sidekicks. What did you think about the movie? bbkaratepodcast@gmail.com. This movie's fun to watch. It's if it was animated and they didn't change anything else, it'd be a cartoon. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no... Yeah. It's very cartoonish. It's very silly. Brandis probably gives the best performance of the movie. I think he's solid.
I'd say him and Mr. Lee give the best performances. Yeah. I wish they had done more Mr. Lee in it and had him more... Yeah. Developed his character a little bit more. But
yeah, maybe some backstory.
Yeah. I talk about developing characters, or we say that, and it's just like, I'm not a big film guy, and I say that, but it's like, in the long run, I really don't need that for these kind of movies,
Well, I think it would be really for Mr. Lee, just like...
Yeah.
Like, what's one of the great things about Mr. Miyagi? He talks about training with his father and stuff like that, especially in 2, when you find out all that more backstory. Like, all we need for Mr. Lee is just like, when I was training in Japan, we did this and this and this, and I thought this, and I too was a dreamer when I was, that's all we need.
Yeah.
I think that's like a lot of these backstory things can be fixed with a line, but I think this movie's worth a rewatch. It holds up, and like I said, and like Marcus was talking about, this was a pretty impactful movie on me as a kid, to where I was just like quoting to all these things, and it was like, I must have watched this a whole bunch.
Before we go, who was the Randy Cellini of your high school? You can give first, just the first. Do you have a Randy Cellini?
I never went head to head with the bully. I mean, I had a few bullies, especially in middle school. I had quite a bit of bullies. David, Bobby, Jonathan, a guy named Kenya, a kid named Joe. All of these people at one point tried to fight me for what I remember being no reason.
Right.
To prove something, it felt like. So but I never had like that kid who was so popular because of his aggressiveness towards other people. You know, like Randy Cellini seems to have all of his friends because he can beat people up, and they're like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, get it, kill the kid, Randy." So, yeah, that was mine. Did you have a Randy Cellini?
I think the same thing. Like, I think mine was more elementary school where I ran into like the most bullies, but I think I can't even remember his name. But I remember like the first time, like I knew that I had to fight and kind of stand up for myself was in elementary school, which is sad. But it's just like I remember because I would be dropped off at elementary school like fairly early. It feels like 6 a.m. You know, when you're young back then. Mom's got to drop you off like at 4 a.m. at school because she's got to get to work, and you're just standing out there waiting for school to start. But I would get dropped off early, and you would play on the playground until school starts. And there was this kid who would always just pick on me. And can't remember his name, but he's a little taller than me. And one day, he's talking shit, and he just punches me in the stomach for no reason. And I double over, and I'm just like, okay, well, I got to do something now because this has gotten out of hand, Mark. And
got out of hand real quick.
And all I did, while I was doubled over, I just picked up some dirt off the ground, and like as hard as I could, like I just put my hand in his face, and he fell down, and I just kept my hand like on his face with this dirt, like. I feel like I was almost suffocating him because I was holding him down, and I wasn't saying anything. It was like this quiet, psychotic moment, you know, of something happening.
For sure.
Yeah,
and all the kids are like,
"Holy shit!" Yeah, and I had gotten so much trouble from the school. But when I told my parents what happened, they were like, "Good, now he's not going to mess with you anymore," and he didn't.
Yeah. Now he doesn't want you to kill him. Oh man, no, I never had that moment of beating up the bully, but you know, I got the lead in a school play though, so take that.
There you go. That's all you need, kids.
So that was Sidekicks. If you. Is this a movie you'd recommend?
I would recommend it. I would recommend it in a sense of if you have kids now too, especially, then you're at that age probably that we're at as far as, you know, you remember the 90s, the late 90s, but it also just brings about that kind of thing. All your kids have not just asthma, but they have something that, you know, that sucks about them, that they think sucks about them. Every kid has it. Doesn't matter if you're Randy Cellini or Barry Grabowski, you're going to be, you know, not confident about something. And I think like watching this movie is just kind of that take back to where these were simpler times as far as if you got in a fight too, it was just a fight as far as not somebody coming in with a gun to school after that too. It was you handled it in the gym with Bull, the coach, and another kid, or you took it out at a tournament. And it's kind of that thing to where you can watch with your kids, or remember back then too, that how easy it was to just stand up for yourself as well.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good thing to end on. And if you have any questions or your memories of this movie, hit us up at bbkaratekpodcast@gmail.com. And keep up with us on social media, and we'll let you know what's coming out next week. And coming up in August, it's a big one for me. We'll let you know what that is. Follow us on social media and give us 5 stars. And that was Bullets, Bourbon, and Karate.
I'll go with you. I'll go with you. I'll go with you.